Okay, so I call the meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. on September 10th, 2020. We are meeting remotely via Google Chat. This is pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Westborough Advisory Finance Committee will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Westborough's website at www.town.westborough.ma.us. Members of the public who wish to watch the meeting may do so on Westborough TV, either on Verizon Channel 28 or Charter Channel 192, or via YouTube /Westborough TV. All right. Thank you. I think most folks have that memorized by now. All right. To review the agenda, we have two sets of past minutes to approve from the August 17th meeting, number 1, and the August 31st meeting, number 2. Mike, thank you very much. And then we're going to get right into AFC business. Chief Purcell is here to discuss Article 2 of the special town meeting warrant covering the self-contained breathing apparatus. After that, we'll review liaison assignments and then just go over future draft agendas and committee and liaison reports, and then adjourn. Are there any questions on minutes? Do we have a motion?
I move to accept the minutes of August 17th, 2020.
Bradley, second.
All right. Thank you. Any discussion? No? All right. We'll go around the room. Mr. Roush.
Roush, okay, yes.
Yes.
Had to come off mute.
Ms. Hensley.
Hensley, yes.
All right, Mr. Bradley.
Bradley, yes.
All right. Ms. Board.
Miss Board, yes.
Okay. Mr. Hugel. Did I lose Paul? I lost Paul, okay. Mr. Beretti. All right, we lost a couple. Keogh, yes. We'll go 6-0-0 on the first set of minutes. And we also have the August 31st minutes. We have a motion on those.
I will move that we accept the minutes of August 31st, 2020.
Okay. Is there a second?
Bradley, second.
Thank you very much. All right. Mr. Roush? Say yes, Hank? Okay.
I have to abstain because I wasn't there.
Abstain, okay, that's fine. Abstain. Miss Hensley?
Hensley, yes.
Okay. Miss Board?
Board, yes.
Okay. Mr. Bradley?
Bradley, yes.
Mr. Brett? Oop. Missed anybody? And Keogh, yes. So 5-0-1. We'll see if Mike and Paul get back on with us, hopefully here momentarily. But with that, we will move to discussion of AFC business and Article 2. Chief Purcell, thank you for attending.
Good evening, and thanks for having me.
So I know this was an article that was passed over at our annual town meeting. But I think you asked it to be passed over because you were interested in looking at grants and things of that nature. And they're coming back to this special town meeting, I think just primarily because of the time needed in order to get these into place. Is that correct?
That's 100% correct. So when we had already written and submitted a grant through FEMA, through the Assistance to Firefighters grant program, and with the with the pandemic going on, they were stalled awarding those grants. I was hoping to have heard prior to the town meeting, but we had not. We had received notification, so we asked to be deferred into the fall. That was cutting it very, very close for me. Our current breathing apparatus have been in service longer than I have actually worked here. We did do some modifications through a grant to them in 2006, but and that included upgrading the bottles that we use, not the actual pack and harness itself and all the technology that's built into it. But the bottles are carbon fiber wrapped bottles, and those are good for 15 years, and they are set to expire. They don't all expire on the exact same date, but they all do expire in 2021, starting in January. I asked to be moved and take advantage of the special town meeting because it just gives me about an extra month to a month and a half to place an order, get that order still. They build them after you order them, get them shipped, and then train my department on the newer technology and get them placed in service by December 31st. So I am pleased to report that we did receive a grant we didn't get the full amount that we were looking for. We got $260,000. There was a match, the 5% match, which which obligated us to $13,000. We have been working with two of the V2 major vendors for SCBA. I've gotten quotes from both of them, but the one that unfortunately fits our department the best is a little bit more expensive. And I'm 99% sure that's who we're interested in going with. They are on the state purchasing list, so we don't need to go out to bid. It's just that the company that we usually use, we're looking to change a little bit. They kind of fell asleep with their technology in the last 10 years. So unless something drastically changes between now and town meeting vote, if we're successful, I would say probably going to go with one that's a little bit more money. So we were looking for approval to make up the difference between what we got and the last quote we did. Originally, we were asking for $350,000. By also using this other vendor that was a little bit more. It looks like we're going to be able to take advantage of a group purchase with the city of New Bedford because we're both going to be placing orders at the same time. So we were looking to make up a difference of $58,982.35 instead of the $350. And the last quote that we had gotten from them, which I believe I provided, and I think it got to the chair, was $318,982.35. So the 260 that we got plus the shortfall, and that would take care of us for about another 15 to 20 years.
Okay. Chief, thank you very much. Do we have any questions for Chief Purcell?
Hi, Chief Purcell. Could you remind us how long you have been here, just because you referenced that in the presentation?
I was hired here in 1989. No, excuse me, 1999.
99. Oh my God, that's some old equipment we have. May I ask, also in the warrant, you mentioned that there's an approximate $10,000 annual maintenance for the existing Scooby units.
Yes.
Is that going to persist with these new units?
I hope not. I hope not. I hope there is some annual testing that we do on them, flow testing that usually costs us about $2,000 to $3,000. We're required to do that annually, but I would anticipate that price, that cost, the repairs that we make today would go down. That's my hope. But
Thank you, sir.
you also have to recognize we use them in the most harsh environment. So I would say we're not going to be completely relieved of that cost, but I think it would be a safe bet that you would see that number go down.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
I was wondering, Chief, it's Melanie. I was wondering if you could just touch on, like the harness pack and how updated it is so that people recognize with the weight of the canister, the pressure points that are taken off for your guys and gals.
Sure. So when we purchased our air packs, I believe that, and I'm ballparking, they were purchased in either 1997 or 1998. They were put onto wire frames, a wire frame with no ergonomics taken into consideration when they built that. So depending on the type of incident that we have, if it's a car fire, we may only have it on for 30 minutes, but if we have a structure fire or a hazardous materials call, they could be on for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours out of whack. We had an incident last year. We were in air packs for almost 12 hours. The newer packs are made of a plastic type material, a hardened plastic, and they're designed with adjustment, and it's adjustable to fit the user. And it actually directs a lot more of the weight of the unit onto your hips rather than onto your back and your neck. But I can tell you, I know I'm older than the majority of my department, but wearing an air pack for a couple hours is tough to bend over and walk the next day. It's with the old ones, it's not fun to wear them. But there's a lot more technology. The straps are better, they're wider. It's easier to grip when you have fire gloves on, when you already have a decreased amount of strength in your grip. They fit your back, your neck, your shoulders, your waist, just a lot better. And also the technology that's built into them. They have a pack tracker capability. So like if the firefighters are inside of a building and we decide to, purchase the option to upload into our mobile data terminals in our apparatus, we can see where firefighters are generally inside of a building. There's a whole lot more technology that comes along with them that is available to us. And if they increase technology, the ones that we're buying will allow us to add on rather than replace. We're looking at perhaps down the road increasing the communication capability through a grant at some point if they improve the Bluetooth technology. We did evaluate that this time. I'm not really sold that it's going to work the way that it should, and I wasn't looking to waste taxpayer money on something that might work. So we're holding off on that part for now. But overall, they are a drastic improvement compared to what we have.
Okay.
Yes,
Mr.
Jody.
Chair, yeah, I have a couple of questions. This came before us, and I think we recommended approval of this on our recent warrant before we reduced the warrant last fiscal year. So I'm looking at the amount, and just clarify for me, are you asking for $13,000, and would that be coming from the AFC Emergency Reserve? And how does this compare to what you had to ask for us last time this appeared on a proposed warrant?
No, I asked for $350,000 before.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm looking. I was given 260, and I've also through one of these companies, I have the opportunity to go do a group purchase with the city of New Bedford. I am looking for $58,982.35 to make up the difference between the $260,000 that we were given and the latest quote, which I provided last week to you, for $318,982.35.
Okay, so you were asking us to approve, and I think the chair can correct me, it would be from the AFC Emergency Reserve?
No,
And-
Jody,
this
this
is-
is for the
No.
special town meeting warrant. This is
Right.
article number 2.
So we're gonna raise it, is it a raise and appropriate?
I think it's free cash.
No, the warrant calls for
cash.
the amount of free cash.
Free cash, thank you. And the number again is $58,982.35. I see, I'm looking through the paperwork that we were, that was put in front of us here. So thank you. Now I'm with us. Thank
All
you.
right.
Hi. So I think I'm caught on the same thing. So, and I apologize about being late. We're having internet glitches, but at one point we saw a document for 13,000, and I was really impressed that you got 95,000. I mean, 95% of what you asked. asking for, which is awesome. What? I think I missed your explanation. I really apologize. What's the extra stuff?
No, I wrote a grant for $350,000.
Gotcha.
The federal government reduced it to 270. They spread their grants out to
every
benefit, and they also didn't fund. They didn't fund a part that I wrote for. It's a component of an air pack called a RIP pack. It's a rapid intervention pack, so that if a firefighter is caught in a building or trapped, we have a RIT team that brings that part of the SCBA in. So if they run low on air, we can fill up the air. It has an extra mask with it. So if their mask is broken, we can put them on that mask. And it's not designed the way that for the one that we wear, it clips onto them and secures to them with a tether strap. So that's
okay. So you got 95% of what they were willing to give you, and we need to finish the rest. Essentially.
I'm not essentially, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I got a large amount of what we were asking for.
You
I wouldn't
did.
say it's 95%, but I got a big part.
Thank you. Well, they made it look like 95.
All
So
right.
thank you.
Thanks.
Sorry. Okay, but now I get it.
All right. Any other questions? Chief Purcell?
Sean, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is Paul. I just wanted to let you know I was back on. Power went out at 7:02, and it took me a while to find the phone number. But anyhow, I'm on until my cell phone breaks down.
No, thank you very much. Yeah, Mike texted me, and so did John Arnold. I think your neighborhood problem.
Okay, that's a big
Oh.
stretch.
So Mike,
Actually, the transformer across from my brother's house blew up. He said he was looking out the window when it happened.
Wow.
all I know is we had power glitches.
All right, well, we're back. We're
Okay.
back. Do I have a motion?
Sure, I'll move that we vote to recommend Article 2 for the special fall town meeting for an expenditure of free cash in the amount of $58,982.35.
Second.
All right, excellent. We'll go around. Ms. Hensley?
So
Yes.
actually, there's a discussion.
Oh, sure, we can discuss more.
My only question is that the warrant, as I'm reading it, says 58,983 versus the 58,982 and change. And that's, I just want to make sure that we're aligning with what's in the warrant or intentionally breaking from it.
It's rounded up, it looks like. It's rounded up
Yep.
$1 in the warrant.
I understand that. I just,
Okay,
the dollar numbers don't agree with what's on the warrant.
thank you. Can I amend the motion to have the number to match what's in the article, $58,983?
Yeah, second. I mean,
Yep, sounds good.
Okay. Okay,
Any other discussion?
I apologize for that. I've been really trying to hammer down the price on this with the vendors. I've really been trying to do my thing to it, and I probably rounded up when Christy asked me. So I'll take the hit on that one.
Yep.
yeah.
Chief, you did the hard work. This is just the paperwork. We just need to make sure we get it right.
It's 65 cents. I think we can do it.
right.
I'll buy you a cup of coffee with it.
Thank you.
Just kidding.
Well, I think we took it away.
Okay, Ms. Hensley?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Blumberg,
Blumberg, yes.
Ms. Board,
Board, yes.
Mr. Roush,
Roush, yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Bradley, yes?
Mr. Hugel. Mr. Hugel.
You can't. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
now I hear you.
Okay, I'll try outside.
Mr. Beretti. I don't know if he's back. He may still be trying to get on. And Mr. Keough, yes. So 8008 present. All right. Chief, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief.
See you on the 29th.
You're welcome. Have a great night. Thanks for doing this early for me. I appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, bye.
All right. Melanie, thank you for setting that up for us.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. Which leads us on to liaison assignments. We had, so of the open liaison assignments, we parsed out fire, to Melanie, and Mike took police. There were still a few open. And I know a couple people expressed interest in the Board of Health.
I'm willing to not take it. I just happen to have inside information, but that way there's no appearance of conflict.
I'll take that one.
Yeah. Thank you.
Happy to take that one.
All right, Jody. Board of
Thank
Health
you.
is
Yeah.
There were a couple others, and there's a few we won't name them that are smaller and may not necessarily need somebody assigned until something comes up. So, you know, we can leave a couple open.
So what do you think about MIS-GIS? Not that I'm a tech person, but I interface with Mark Stockman fairly regularly over the past couple of years. Do you think we should have someone on MIS-GIS?
Sure. I think they've become much more important in the past
Budget
6
if they need
months.
something.
Sorry,
Pardon?
what's that, Beth?
They're a huge budget if they need something. Like they may go for a long time needing nothing, but then when they need something, it's a pretty big package. So it's probably worthwhile.
Yeah. Jody, you want to
Yeah,
take that one?
I'll take that one.
Okay. I mean, the other two that I have had are the Council on Aging and Youth and Family Services. And Youth and Family Services has been kind of tough because their monthly meetings usually lined up with our monthly meetings. So I had trouble attending. But, you know, I'm more than happy to hold on to those if nobody else has a bandwidth to add anything.
I was going to say the director's really nice. If you didn't attend, she would probably fill you in rather rapidly.
Oh yeah, yes. And
Or whoever takes it.
Yep.
Yeah. If you need somebody to cover for you, I'll cover for you, but otherwise I'll leave it with you. I mean, has that?
I'll take those for now. And if it turns out that there's a lot going on there, you know, if we move forward on I think there is a senior center, a study related to the senior population in Westborough. And so if something significant grows out of that, then there may be another committee or something that may require somebody's assistance on that. So I'll put my name back on those two. And then I think we have a couple others that are still open that are a little quieter, and we can, you know, somebody can raise their hand if something pops up with those. I don't know how people feel about that.
Sean, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I was going to say, under the committees, there is a bike and pedestrian committee, and I was invited to sit in on that this past week. Do you want to put my name in under bike and pedestrian?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you, Jody.
I've got a little history with what's going on there. So, and I did attend or get caught up on a meeting this week.
Okay. So, quick review. The updates to the spreadsheet I sent out would be adding Jody to bike and pedestrian, health, and MIS-GIS. I think.
Yep.
All right. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So for future draft agendas, there was a Board of Selectmen meeting on this past Tuesday. They did decide on the dates for the two fall town meetings. The special town meeting is the 29th.
Of September?
September, yes, September 29th. So it's a Tuesday.
Yes, it's a Tuesday. Tuesday at 7 o'clock to 29.
Thank you very much, John.
You're welcome.
There is a third article on that special town meeting warrant now, and we can touch base on that in a minute here. The fall town meeting is now set. The date will be November 14th. That is a Saturday. They've chosen a Saturday because they want to try and get the whole meeting done in one day. I think just due to the cleaning issues, it's going to be at the high school. So 9 a.m. Saturday the 14th, and hopefully we're in and out pretty quickly. So because it's the 14th, I've kind of updated. That gives us like a dozen potential meeting dates prior to the fall town meeting. Hopefully we will not need all of them, but I will send out sort of an updated potential calendar with the 14th. The last potential meeting would probably be that Monday the 9th. If things were last minute, we would also expect the warrant, the fall town meeting warrant has to be posted for 14 days. So Hank was looking at the calendar, and the selectmen's last meeting in October is the 27th. So we imagine the warrant will probably be open until October 27th. Also, we're a little slow right now. I don't think we need to meet on Monday. I didn't bother throwing out an agenda for Monday, but in talking to the town manager, she's saying she could be here next Thursday to go over the first draft of the town warrant for us. That gives time for like town council to take a look and for them to sort of get a draft of all the necessary language. And right now they've got, I think, about a dozen items on it. Expecting it may grow by a few more to say 16 or something, but for a fall town meeting, that actually isn't that many items. We've done 30 plus items at fall town meetings before, so knock on wood that.
Is there much capital equipment on it?
Well, there is. I think that's all sort of bundled under a single item the way it is on the annual town warrant. So I think they're bringing back most everything that was originally in the annual town warrant. So
that short warrant might have some lengthy articles then, though.
Yeah. So, but we'll get a preview of it next Thursday from the town manager. But before then, so for the meeting on the 29th, there is a third article, and I guess sort of brought forward by the DPW. And Hank, I don't know, do you want to, you mind giving a little background on that one, or?
Yeah, it appears that the water treatment plant contract is up for review. It expires, and we have to negotiate a new contract. And the new contract will have financial impact starting in fiscal year 2022. So it doesn't have any financial impact in fiscal year 2021 because the existing contract expires at the end of this fiscal year. And the Board of Selectmen are asking for authorization to negotiate and sign a contract. From a finance committee perspective, there's no financial impact that we have any say in, or the town meeting has any say in terms of financial impact, because it doesn't. The contract will be part of the FY 2022 budget.
No, but
it's a technicality that once the contract's signed, it's very hard not to fund it. But technically, the contract will have to be signed pending authorization of the spending at the town meeting.
Yeah, this is John. Let me I'll add in a little bit of background because I was listening in and talking at the meeting on Tuesday when this showed up. Essentially, it sounded to me like in the past, it has been traditional that this water treatment contract is done as a 10-year contract with an optional 5-year renewal, 2 5-year renewals. And my understand, and town meeting has to approve any contract that's more than 3 years. And I believe the selectmen are asking the town meeting for authorization of the parameters of having a 10-year contract with 2 optional 5-year renewals, just to set the boundaries so they can begin negotiations and know that, and essentially know that that's the type of contract they can start negotiating. So that's the reason it has to come to town meeting, and I believe that's the reason for bringing it now, is just so negotiations can start and the selectmen can go forward and just say, we'd like to put out an RFP or have a contract, for 10 years with up to 2 5-year renewals, just because that's the way the business works for something as complicated as the treatment plant. I think companies tend to like to have the long-term commitment.
And I think at the annual town meeting, we approved a consultant to help with this RFP for the water treatment plant. And I think it might have been that person's recommendation that they put it into this special town meeting warrant just to give them additional time in order to start the process. So it could have been done now, could have been done in the regular fall town meeting, but they thought the additional time would be helpful. We have to have a contract for the wastewater treatment plant. So I don't know, there's too much to discuss on this one. If folks want, we could get somebody in from the DPW, but also we'll, I'm sure, get the details on the 29th, but it's sort of.
Does town meeting get another crack? I mean, if we give the selectmen the right to ask town meeting for the 20-year contract, if for whatever reason the contract were absolutely horrible, does town meeting get another crack at it, or is once we approve this, it's just a done deed? I mean, whatever they negotiate.
Town meeting does not get to approve the contract. We can either fund the budget or not fund the budget. If we don't fund the budget for FY 2022, by default, we're causing the contract to be renegotiated. But we don't get a vote on the terms and conditions of the contract. We just get a vote on the spending authorization for 2022. We don't get a vote on the spending authorization for 2023 until the spring town meeting of 2022, because we approve spending 1 year at a time.
All right.
Yeah, and the other issue is if we don't approve this, then the Board of Selectmen can only do a 3-year contract.
Right. It's a part of negotiation for them.
Puts them at a severe disadvantage. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not an expert, but I would guess if you put out an RFP for a 3-year contract, you won't get any bids.
Yeah, I think someone mentioned there are implementation costs if someone new takes over the contract, and if you can't amortize those over a longer time period, then it's not worthwhile to you.
There are substantial laboratory facilities that one must have and maintain, and there's a substantial payroll of skilled chemists and water treatment professionals who have to be part of managing this treatment plant. That's in addition to the typical guys who maintain the plumbing and the pumps. But running a treatment plant from a chemical perspective is fairly complicated, and you need laboratory facilities, and you need some high-skilled professionals on staff to do it.
I'd like to make a motion that we recommend the town so.
So one second before that. Sorry, Beth.
Okay.
Since this just came up, and I did not put it on the physical agenda that was posted. Do we need to hold off on our vote until our next meeting?
That sounds prudent to me.
Unfortunately, my power out, I can't see the agenda. Does the agenda talk about special town meeting and say and other such items?
Yeah, because
the agenda says review of special town meeting warrant.
This is on
and then
that's probably broad enough
too. But
it does say included but not limited to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's again. This is another teaching moment, because I think I went over this with Jody and now Sean. The reason why I started the tradition of saying, if you were talking about town meeting warrants, to say who he plans to speak to, and always put including but not limited to, because it essentially lets the whole warrant be discussed and voted on. So I think it would be in order and okay for you to accept a vote on a recommendation and discussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, John. All right, Beth.
All right, then, since there's no money involved, I recommend that I move that the town so vote. Can we make a motion that the town so vote?
Yeah. Let me see. It was in the email that was distributed today.
Is this about Article 3, Water Facilities Contract Operator?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, it
And
is.
that was-
The 10-5.
So I second Beth's motion regarding Article 3, Water Facilities Contract Operator term.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Okay, further discussion?
This
yeah,
is Andrew. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Andrew. I'll go after you.
Well, thank you. My only misgiving is the turn of the phrase option to extend for 2 up to 5-year terms. That's just unnecessarily complicated language. It's
No,
explained better in the description, but I don't think it's clear.
Well,
I'm
the
prepared to-
warrant's closed, so that's the way the wording's going to be. It could be at the town meeting. You could always ask town council to make sure that means what it says. But I believe the town can't enter into contracts more than 20 years. So I mean, and based on all the conversations I've had, I'm pretty sure that the wording is intended to be an initial term of 10 years and then up to 2 5-year extensions.
So as the article verbiage can't be changed, Andrew, are you comfortable with how it is?
Yeah, I'm prepared to move forward. I'm concerned. I'm happy to hear that council has weighed in on the fact that that slurm of language is acceptable for what we're trying to do. So I'll vote with it. I just don't like it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Andrew. Paul?
Yeah, it sounds like someone needs to mute. Are you all
Yes.
hearing that?
I am. If there is background noise in your room, can you-
Okay, I'll go ahead anyhow. I just wanted to, I don't know, just mention the concern that Jody's raised a lot, and that is that, you know, bringing things to a special town meeting like this where there'll be very, you know, probably few voters is not preferable to bringing it to at least the fall town meeting. But I'll trust that they, you know, the urgency, you know, the extra month and a half or whatever is, you know, necessary. You know, that would be beneficial enough that otherwise I'd prefer to wait, but I think I'd go along with it if that's what they recommend.
I honestly think there may be some background fear of the November meeting getting pushed out further. Because if there's going to be a surge, that might be when it happens.
Yeah. At the Board of Selectmen's meeting, though, the town manager mentioned that the November 14th date is about as far back as we can go and still establish a tax rate for this year. So, it would be really difficult for them to push it by the November 14th date, but certainly it could happen.
So my point I'd just like to make is that we'd prefer more articles not be piled in when there's a special town meeting, you know, all things being equal.
Okay. Nope, noted. Noted, Paul, thank you. All right. Are we prepared to vote? Okay. Ms. Hensley,
Yes.
Ms. Blumberg,
Lumberg, yes.
Mr. Ward,
Ford, yes.
Mr. Roush,
Roush, yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Bradley, yes.
Mr. Hugel,
Yes.
Mr. Beretti, and Keo, yes. So 8008 currently on the call. Okay. Thank you. So that closes out our votes for the special town meeting. And I will make sure I pass those along to the town manager. All right, so we touched base on the warrant and the fact that the town manager can make it next Thursday to go over and give us an initial review of what is in the town warrant. Are there other things that folks would like to see on that agenda? I mean, stuff until we see the town warrant.
Sean, if I can get the folks from the Affordable Housing Working Group to be available, I would suggest it would be good to have them there. The current proposal is to have three warrant articles on the town meeting dealing with establishing an affordable housing trust and then funding that trust from the Pulte remediation payments and funding that trust from free cash. So there's three articles, and it's a fairly complicated issue, particularly when you're talking funding a trust or establishing a trust and then transferring funds into the control of that trust. I will need to verify that Alan Enberg or somebody like that's available to do the presenting.
Okay. No, that'd be great. And I think, Hank, maybe also some general background on what the Affordable Housing Committee has been discussing. I got a peek at the website.
Yeah, I mean, well, basically what's happening is that the selectmen empowered, recruited a working group to investigate putting in place an affordable housing trust in Westborough. Many of the surrounding communities have affordable housing trusts. What affordable housing trusts do is they receive revenue or money from various sources, including remediation payments, CPA money, the tax levy, donations, etc. And then the trustees are empowered to purchase and own real estate, to build houses, to renovate homes, to sell property. Basically, they have a lot of authority to move on their own. They only go to town meeting when they need money. Once town meeting grants some money, they have the authority to spend it.
Okay. I think in those meetings are televised, correct?
Those meetings are televised, they're online. There's also a website. I can send you a pointer to the website soliciting public commentary about affordable housing trusts, explaining what the trust is about, and soliciting commentary and feedback.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Hank. Additionally, I think as part of that, because it is going to be funded from the Pulte Homes development up where the state hospital is or was, I think maybe the town manager can give us an update on sort of what's going on there. And I don't know who's been on Westborough TV lately, but they did an overview of the Pulte development. They went there with the drone about 3 weeks ago and did a flyover. And so it's like a 2-minute video. It was actually pretty cool. And they appear to be moving pretty quickly.
Yeah, they're probably having some difficulty selling the units because they've recently been cutting the prices.
Oh, really?
The latest Zillow postings indicate price cuts trying to move some of the units.
Gotcha. Thanks, Hank. All right. So that'd be great. If you want, yeah, whenever you can get back to me, Hank, on the affordable housing team, and we'll put them on the warrant, or pardon me, on our agenda for next Thursday, the 17th, if they can make it. And then really receiving the town warrant on the 17th then sort of drives the rest of our agendas going forward until fall town meeting. All right, so I think we're good for the agenda on the 17th. Move on to liaison reports.
Sure. I followed up on the meeting of the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee, and the town manager pulled together, she has a committee she pulls together to advise her, because it's quite a far-flung cadre of people who've had interest in both the bike, a potential bike path at some point, pedestrian walkability in town, and there's a number of volunteer folks and boards, as well as employees in town who have interest in that initiative. And a walkable, bikeable community keeps showing up in our strategic plan, and it's showing up in our master plan as something the community really wants. So there was a large Safe Streets grant that has come to Westborough, and that is for design and feasibility. And the town manager needs to see what the feasibility study says. We'll have an outcome of that when the study is complete. And we need to, I think, shore up a previous feasibility study, because members of the Bike and Pedestrian Committee thought that there was some data missing or some background missing. So with that, at this point, they're waiting for the study to be finished, and the town manager said she'd likely appoint a committee that now will involve both town employees and the advocates or the bike and pedestrian interests in town, to just further get our hands around both the sort of the bike interests and the pedestrian interests going forward. So I think the question brought up by Mike Peretti, I'm sorry he's not here, is that this grant arrives. So does the grant that lets us design and consider feasibility of bike and pedestrian work in town set us up for more spending? And the answer to that is that once a plan is completed, it sets us up for more state and potentially federal funding. So the wisdom, this is, clearly, this is an interest in the community that is being voiced on a consistent basis moving forward, and to have a plan and feasibility and data in place will put us in a better position to bring in other public funding to pursue that agenda. Will it cost something? None of the money, no extra money will be spent on it unless it comes, before town meeting, well considered. And if it's what the community wants, putting ourselves in the position to get more public funding for that effort, I think is a very good thing. So I'm glad for the grant, and I'm glad that it lets the advocates and the town employees take a better look at what the options are for the future and this agenda for Westborough.
Thanks, Jody.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to be aware that most of the grant money that's available is matching money. It's partial funding, and the town has to, and the matches, range all over the map in terms of percentage. But there is on the web somewhere, probably under the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee, the results of a feasibility study that was done by WDA Design Associates of the bicycle part of that. And they estimated that we were looking at, this is about a year old now, we were looking at possibly a $5 million expenditure.
Over an undefined period of time. So that could be.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean.
And they break it down into pieces. And yeah, many of these are decades-long projects to finish the plan in communities.
But we just need to understand it's non-trivial amounts of money.
Yeah, true.
Okay, thank you. Any other liaison reports?
I guess, well, the school committee is meeting. They've opened the schools to teachers and planning. Students are starting soon. The poor athletic director gave an amazing report of the various sports they're allowed to hold with social distancing, sports they're delaying holding. And it seems right now probably one of the biggest problems that the town has to do with transportation and getting, so because of hybrid days, not everybody's at school on the same day at the same time. So they have to figure out a plan that allows students who aren't participating in after school activities to go home, and students who are at home to get back to school. And so there's it seems like there's some bus negotiations still in the works to make it feasible and happen, because they want to be equitable about, if you're on the wrong colored day, you can still participate in your after school sport. But the teachers, feeling from the school committee meeting, the teachers and students and, people are excited to have the school year open, so they're working hard.
Beth, am I correct that they're going to, the school committee will have an article on the fall town meeting, and we'll be looking for a small budget increase, 60K or so?
I honestly don't know, because I left the school committee meeting the last time to come here, and yesterday I left to attend Teachers of Mathematics in Massachusetts conference that happened today. So I missed the last 20 minutes of the meeting. So I don't know, but I think you might be right.
I think their budget increase they're expecting is modest.
Yeah, they've been working. I mean, I said this last time, they're doing an incredible job of finding grants or requesting grants, and they're definitely doing some juggling of what they thought they were doing this year and what they will be doing this year, because their goal is to, get everybody educated, involved in school as best as they can. And so I'm not surprised that they're asking for money. And that was one of the reasons I kept listening, but I did cut out and not hear the end.
I think it's related to, so at the annual town meeting, they still had some contract negotiations outstanding.
Yes.
I think they've finalized those. So whatever that
The dollar that
is.
yeah, so that might be it, because I remember I did see or hear something about the contracts.
Yeah. So I don't know that it's anything net new necessarily they're needing. As far as I know, it might just be fun. Yeah.
An appropriate email or two and find out. But yeah, because I have to be honest, I have cut out for various. Okay, yesterday was 12 hours of online in a row.
No problem. We'll get those details next Thursday.
Yeah.
Right. Any other?
Yeah, Sean, I sit on the Westborough Golf Club Operating Committee representing the AFC, and just there's no financial impact, but we're going to be changing the management model at the golf course. The existing golf professional who's been more than 20 years, he's been a contractor. We've contracted those services. We're going to move that activity in-house. I believe it'll be lodged in the recreation department. I'm not sure yet, but in fiscal year 2021, moving from a contractor to a town employee will be financially neutral, and we won't see any financial impact. The jury's out on whether we'll see a financial impact in 2022, but in 2021, it won't come to town meeting. It won't come to the finance committee. It's just they're changing the management model.
Will it become part of the rec department?
I think I missed the details, but I believe that, again, the town manager gets to make that decision. I'm assuming they'll lodge the position in the rec department. The management will still be done by the golf club operating committee. The funding will still come out of the enterprise fund. So it'll be a hybrid model in terms of funding and management, but the position will almost certainly be lodged in the rec department.
All right. Excellent. Thank you, Hank.
This is Paul. The financial impact will be that because their reserve fund is used up, any additional capital equipment, which they need a lot of, will come out of the town. And I thought it wasn't quite financially neutral. I thought the benefits put it above, but I may not.
Again, in FY21, the expectation is that it'll be financially neutral.
Okay. Yeah.
Again, I mean, we're only going to be paying that employee for half a year from 1st of January to to the 1st of July. And in fact, it may be less than that because it depends on when they bring them on board.
Right.
And I imagine when we get an update from the golf club, if we do, that on the revenue side, they're doing great this year.
Yeah, they're actually having a good revenue year, lots of greens fee income.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Yeah, Andrew Bradley for the school building committee. In this last week, we reviewed options with regards to the issues that come around parking for contractors, springing from the fact that they are not allowed to carpool, which was expected to be a significant way of bringing a number of contractors parking off site. And there were a number of plans put forward, ranging from, I think, $240,000 is the most expensive of the options, down to allowing contractors to park on the streets and thereby impacting the street activity around the Eli Whitney and the premises. There was a motion put forward that there be a consideration for a $60,000 expense that would allow a parking area to be constructed within the school confines. That was something that was not previously thought to be possible, but because of the geo drilling that they were doing, they believe that there's actually a way they could work around and make parking available, significant amount of parking available on premise now that the project is underway. I would say the money is not being spent on that yet. There are still a number of discussions to happen, particularly with a meeting that will happen with the community that will be impacted by street parking, as well as consideration for the timing of when the Eli Whitney Street purchase can happen, with the possibility of a parking structure being constructed there on those premises, which is something that is planned anyways. But the exact specifics of that are not known. So there's no way to know how that timeline or the specifics of the parking at Eli Whitney would work out.
I guess I would have asked if, when you're finding out things, is it temporary or permanent? But where it sounds like this is really up in the air, I don't even know whether that's a real question yet.
Well, the only option that would be of any permanence would be if something happened with the Eli Whitney space, because the expectation would be that whatever is constructed would be paid in support of the parking area that will eventually go to support that open conservation area. And that was something that was, talked about at a high level as they developed the area. But that would be a more permanent solution. Any of the other options would be very temporary, from leasing space to the building of the parking space on premise, which obviously would go away once the school construction was finished. And there's another, I'm sorry.
That's what I was asking, because I wasn't sure, I know that they've increased the parking for that school, but even increasing it, I wondered if there was enough. And so I wondered if they found temporary, but I don't want it to take away from playgrounds either.
Yeah, and the answer is that there's going to be more parking in the new arrangement once the building comes down, once the old building comes down. It's really bridging the time between now and then.
All right, thank you, Andrew.
It looked like
Andrew,
they had flattened that pile already and that where vehicles were on it. The big pile in the field.
Yeah, they already have some vehicles parking there. The issue is, as they start transitioning into more building and bringing in more of the trades, the number of contract employees is going to ladder up significantly.
Yeah, right.
Andrew, do we expect folks to come forward looking for more money, or will they absorb it out of the contingency?
The plan is out of the contingency if it has to happen. I think that the other wild card is, what the folks in the town are going to be able to say. I for one, am not a big fan of spending even $60,000 at a time that a lot of places. I mean, that's a single HR position in a school or somewhere else, approximately. And if it means inconvenience, if it's a force majeure situation, COVID is causing problems. The other potential wild card is that if the limitations and restrictions on carpooling change, then if we did go to the street model, it's possible that could change back to the carpooling model very quickly if the restrictions of the state permit. So there's a number of moving pieces. Hank, to your question, the expectation is it would come out of contingency.
Andrew, thank you.
Certainly.
Right. Any public reminders for viewers?
I just want to chime in and let the committee know that I think I've identified a candidate for the 9th slot on the committee. So I'm working with Terry to have him formally resign. And then once I do that, I'll do the paperwork. And hopefully in the next week or so, you'll have your 9th member. And then I will introduce him or her once that happens.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that'll be great. All those ties we've been having, 8-8, 4-4.
All right. Do I have?
Oh, then Melanie won't be the new person.
That's right.
I'm
You
gonna feel
may
new
be
for
the
a while.
shortest serving newbie ever. So I'm not sure we've ever had so little time. I think we've had people start at the same time, but I don't think we've ever had as short a time between new members.
Yeah.
She hasn't even lost that new person smell. It's still there, you know?
We have vote for adjournment or a motion for adjournment. Pardon me.
With pleasure. Motion to adjourn.
All right. Second? Anyone?
I'll second that motion
Second,
to
thank you.
adjourn.
So
All right.
are we starting at 6 p.m. in the future?
Oh, I brought that up. I mean, certainly, I think we can think about moving the meetings up. If people are up to doing that, Hank, I brought it up at the end of the last meeting. The Board of Selectmen is now starting at 5, although their meeting on Tuesday was 4.5 hours. So I don't want people to think that we have that much more time then. So why don't next Thursday we'll meet at 7 and we can touch base on it again.
Yeah. I'd also ask that you wait for the new member before you discuss that, because one of the discussions I had with people was some people, although I realize it might be rare, some people are still working and might have difficulty getting to an earlier meeting, and certainly wouldn't want to have an earlier start means it goes just as long. So I think it might, if you could just keep with it, wait till the 9th person is there, and then have an open and candid discussion about what the impacts of starting earlier are.
That seems very fair. Seems very fair. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
All right, so we'll go around. Miss Hensley,
Yes, Hensley, yes.
Miss Bloomberg,
Lumberg, yes.
Miss Ford,
Ford, yes.
Mr. Roush,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Bradley, yes?
Mr. Hugel,
Yes.
Mr. Beretti. No, he's still out of power. Mr. Keogh, yes. 8 present. See everyone next Thursday.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Chairman.
Cheers.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.